It is the only sun you know. The blue glare bleeds into your retinas, washing out the dark, carving deep lines into your face. Your thumb twitches. It is a phantom movement, a rhythmic, mechanical spasm that has nothing to do with will. You are scrolling through a void. You swipe up, then up again. The glass is cold against your skin, slick with the heat of your own palm. You are searching for a spark, a notification, a sign that the world outside this room still exists. But the screen offers only the same endless, flickering feed. Your eyes do not blink. They are fixed, dilated, drinking in the artificial glow. The silence of the house is absolute, heavy enough to press against your ears, yet you ignore it. You are trapped in the loop of the refresh. Every swipe is a desperate attempt to break the stillness, but the silence only deepens. The thumb twitches again. The screen refreshes. Nothing changes. You are looking for a spark, but the rectangle offers nothing but a deeper, colder numbness. It is a paradox of modern existence. You are overstimulated, flooded with 1,000 images in a single minute, yet you feel entirely hollow. The brain demands more. A constant stream of noise to drown out the quiet, but the more you consume, the less you feel. It is a hunger that cannot be satisfied by pixels. You watch a video of a stranger laughing, then a news headline, then a product you do not need. The images blur into a gray static. Your heart rate remains flat. There is no joy here, only the frantic pacing of a mind trying to escape its own stillness. You are a vessel being filled with digital dust. Every swipe is a transaction where you trade your attention for a momentary distraction, and the cost is your capacity to feel anything genuine. The room feels larger now, colder. The blue light is no longer a guide, it is a barrier. You are reaching for something that does not exist, chasing the ghost of a connection. You are fully awake, yet you are drifting in a void. You believe you are a captive, but look closer at the hand that holds the device. You reach for it the moment you wake. You carry it into the bathroom, to the dinner table, and finally, into the bed. You are not just a user. You are the primary architect of this digital prison. Every setting you toggle, every notification you allow, and every hour you surrender to the feed is a brick laid in the wall of your own isolation. You have built this cage with your own consent. It is a quiet, comfortable confinement where you choose the bars yourself. You curate the noise, you invite the distraction, and you lock the door from the inside. We have engineered a world where we are constantly connected to a network, yet systematically severed from the physical space around us. The silence of the house is not an accident. It is the result of your deliberate preference for the digital echo. You have traded the messy, unpredictable friction of human proximity for the sterile, predictable safety of the screen. You are the builder, the prisoner, and the guard all at once. The isolation is not something that happens to you. It is something you perform, hour by hour, swipe by swipe, until the walls are too high to climb. We call it pleasure. The scientists call it dopamine. But you have been lied to about what that molecule actually does. It is not the molecule of joy. It is the molecule of the hunt. It is the chemical signal that forces you to lean forward, to reach out, to crave the next hit. When you see a notification, your brain fires not because you are happy, but because you are hungry. It is the biological equivalent of a carrot on a stick, dangling just inches from your reach, designed to keep you moving, never arriving. You are not consuming content to satisfy a need. You are being driven by a primal urge that has been hijacked. The moment you grasp the reward, the spike vanishes. The satisfaction is a ghost. It leaves you empty, forcing you to start the hunt all over again. You are running a race where the finish line recedes with every step you take. Your brain is trapped in a loop of anticipation that never resolves into peace. You are not finding fulfillment in the feed. You are merely feeding the hunger that the feed itself creates. It is a cycle of perpetual motion. The hunt is not accidental. It is manufactured. Tech giants have transformed your pocket into a high-stakes casino, where the house never loses. Every interface element is a calculated lever. Every notification, a bell ringing in a windowless room. They have mapped the mechanics of the slot machine onto your digital life. The downward swipe to refresh is not a gesture of curiosity. It is the pull of the lever, the moment of suspended breath before the reel stops spinning. Will it be a win, a like, a validation? The uncertainty is the product. They have engineered the variable reward schedule to perfection, ensuring that you never know what you will get, only that you must pull again to find out. You are not a customer of these platforms. You are the gambler, and your attention is the currency being wagered. The colors, the sounds, the haptic feedback, every detail is tuned to keep you at the table. They have turned the act of scrolling into a compulsive ritual, stripping away the friction of choice until you are left with nothing but the reflex. You are playing a rigged game, feeding coins of time into a machine. You are making a transaction you do not fully understand. You are trading the slow, heavy satisfaction of a life well lived for the frantic, fleeting spike of a digital like. Think of the weight of a physical craft, the resistance of wood under a chisel, or the slow burn of a long conversation. These things take time. They require presence. They offer a depth that anchors you to the world. But you have swapped this for the shallow, instant gratification of the screen. You trade the enduring for the immediate. You trade the substance of your hours for the hollow flicker of a notification. Every time you reach for that quick hit of validation, you are sacrificing a piece of your capacity for deeper meaning. You are thinning out your own experience, replacing the rich texture of reality with a flat, pixelated substitute. The trade is always lopsided. You give away your focus, your patience, and your ability to be still, and in return, you receive nothing but a momentary distraction that leaves you hungrier than before. You are liquidating your own depth to pay for a currency that has no value. You are becoming a ghost in your own life, haunting the feed while the world outside grows dim and distant. The cost is not just your time, it is the very quality of your existence. Your internal compass is broken. The baseline for joy has been recalibrated to a frantic, impossible speed. A book, once a gateway to other worlds, now feels like a heavy, insurmountable chore. You open the pages, but your eyes skip across the lines, searching for a notification, a flicker of movement, a reason to look away. The stillness of the prose feels like a cage. You cannot endure the slow unfolding of a narrative, because your mind has been trained to demand a reward every 3 seconds. You crave the jagged rhythm of the feed, not the steady pulse of thought. Even silence has become a hostile environment. When the noise of the digital world fades, you do not find peace. You find a threat. The quiet is a mirror, and you are terrified of what it reflects. Without the constant stream of external input, the echo of your own unresolved thoughts starts to rise. It is a deafening, hollow sound. You reach for the rectangle not because you are bored, but because you are afraid of the person you become when the screen goes dark. The mind does not simply stop when the screen goes dark. It continues to churn, grinding against the remnants of the day. Imagine the internal architecture of your focus as a series of interlocking gears. In a natural state, they move with fluid, rhythmic grace. But you have forced them into a state of constant, high-speed friction. The oil that should keep the mechanism smooth has been replaced by the thick, dark sludge of digital exhaustion. Each swipe, each refresh, each involuntary twitch of the thumb is a tooth on a gear snapping under pressure. You can hear the sound of it if you listen closely. A metallic, screeching protest. The gears are not designed for this relentless velocity. They were built for the slow, steady torque of deep work and genuine reflection. Now they are stripped, pitted, and coated in the residue of 1,000 meaningless interactions. The friction creates heat. It creates wear. It creates a grinding sensation that radiates through your entire being. You are forcing a delicate, organic system to perform like a machine that never sleeps. And like any machine pushed beyond its threshold, the metal is beginning to fatigue. The grinding is constant, a low-frequency hum that vibrates behind your eyes. The grinding stops, but the pressure remains. You have entered the burnout society. It is a landscape defined by a peculiar, silent violence. There is no dictator standing over you with a whip. There are no overseers demanding your labor. You are the one who sets the pace. You are the one who dictates the hours. You have become your own ruthless taskmaster, turning the lens of authority inward. You wake up and immediately begin the audit of your own potential. You measure your worth by the output of your day, treating your existence as a project that is never quite finished. The exploitation is total because it is voluntary. You do not need a master when you have internalized the demand for constant performance. You look at the clock and see a deadline you created for yourself. You look at your schedule and see a mountain you are obligated to climb. The cage is not built of iron bars. It is built of your own expectations. You have mastered the art of self-subjugation. Every moment of rest feels like a theft of time that could have been productive. The obsession does not stop at labor. It bleeds into the very biology of your existence. You begin to treat your body like a piece of hardware that requires constant, aggressive upgrading. Your sleep is no longer a necessity. It is a metric to be hacked, tracked, and optimized for maximum recovery. You monitor your REM cycles as if you were debugging a server. Your diet is stripped of pleasure, reduced to fuel intake, calculated to the gram to ensure peak performance. You are constantly searching for the next supplement, the next routine, the next protocol that will squeeze one more percentage point of efficiency out of your waking hours. You view your own heartbeat as a data point, your energy levels as a fluctuating stock index. Every breath is measured. Every movement is logged. You are building a facade of perfect functionality, while the foundation beneath it begins to crack. The pressure is rising, a total, inevitable collapse. You are running, but you are not moving. You have stepped onto a treadmill of your own design, and the belt is accelerating. You pour your energy into the sprint, convinced that if you just push harder, if you just optimize one more variable, you will finally reach the horizon. But the horizon is a painted backdrop. You are trapped in a loop of constant motion that yields no distance. Productivity without purpose is a hollow engine, burning fuel simply to keep the gears turning. You look for a finish line, but there is only the next task, the next notification, the next demand for your attention. The faster you run, the more you exhaust the very resources you are trying to preserve. Your lungs burn. Your muscles ache. You try to jump off, but the momentum has become your master. You are terrified that if you stop, the illusion of your own importance will shatter. So you keep running. You keep pushing. You keep grinding your life into the belt, watching the seconds disappear into the void. The belt stops. The machine cuts out. The sudden, violent absence of noise hits you like a physical blow. You are standing still, and for the first time in years, there is no task, no notification, no demand. You wait for the relief of the quiet, but it does not come. Instead, the silence begins to scream. It is a hollow, ringing frequency that vibrates behind your teeth. You try to reach for the familiar hum of the screen, but your hands are empty. In this vacuum, the thoughts you have been drowning in noise begin to surface. They are jagged, unrefined, and loud. Memories you buried under a mountain of productivity claw their way into the center of your awareness. You hear the echo of every doubt you refuse to name. The stillness is not a sanctuary. It is a mirror reflecting the void you have spent your life running from. You stand in the center of the room, chest heaving, listening to the roar of your own consciousness. It is deafening. You cannot survive the echo. Your hands lash out in the dark, sweeping across the cold surface of the table, desperate for the weight of the glass and metal. You are gasping, not for air, but for the distraction. You knock a glass over. It shatters against the floor, but you do not stop. You crawl, fingers digging into the floorboards, searching for the rectangular lifeline. Every second without the blue light is a second where the truth of your own emptiness stares back at you. You find it. The device is cold, dead, and heavy. You jam your thumb against the side, forcing the power button down until the screen flares to life. The light hits your face like a physical strike. You swipe, you refresh, you scroll. The noise returns in a flood of pixels and meaningless updates. The internal screaming is buried beneath the weight of the feed. You are shaking, your breath coming in ragged, shallow bursts, but the void is gone. The hunt has begun again. The screen flickers once, twice, and then goes black. The light does not return. You tap the glass, but the surface remains cold and unresponsive. You look up. The room has dissolved. You are standing in the center of a vast, brutalist hall. The walls are raw, unfinished concrete, stretching upward. The floor is polished stone, reflecting the sterile, rhythmic pulse of overhead fluorescent lights. They hum. You turn, but there is no exit. Every direction leads to more concrete, more shadow, more silence. You reach for your pocket, but it is empty. The device is gone. The feed is gone. The lights flicker, casting long, jagged shadows that seem to shift when you blink. You stand perfectly still. There is only the hum of the lights, the coldness of the stone, and the crushing weight of a silence. You sprint toward the nearest wall, palms slamming against the cold, unyielding concrete. You push until your muscles burn, searching for a seam, a crack, a hidden door. Nothing. The wall is solid, ancient, and indifferent. You drop to your knees, fingers clawing at the stone floor, desperate for a signal, a vibration, any sign of the digital tether. Your skin crawls. A phantom itch spreads across your limbs, a deep, bone-level restlessness that demands motion, noise, and the familiar flicker of the feed. You are sweating, your heart hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. This is the price of the infinite. You look for a shortcut, a way to bypass the stillness, but the hall offers no mercy. There is no exit to be found in the architecture. The only way out is through the center of the storm. You must sit with the tremors. You must watch your own hands shake until they stop. The agony of withdrawal is not a lack of content. It is the presence of yourself. You pull your knees to your chest, press your forehead against the freezing stone, and force your eyes to remain open. The urge to move is a physical ache. It pulls at your shoulders, your jaw, the very tips of your fingers. You want to stand, to pace, to find a distraction, to fill the hollow space with anything other than this stillness. You force your weight down. You press your palms flat against the cold stone floor and lock your elbows. You are not going anywhere. The silence in the hall is heavy, pressing against your eardrums like deep water. A minute passes, then another. The boredom is not a void. It is a weight. It feels like grit under your skin. You watch a single speck of dust drift through a shaft of sterile light. You track its descent until it vanishes into the shadows. Your heart rate, once erratic, begins to slow. The frantic need for a signal, a notification, a flicker of light, starts to lose its edge. You are no longer running. You are simply existing in the quiet. You close your eyes, then open them again, staring into the vast, dark expanse of the hall. You sit, you breathe, you wait for the noise in your mind to finally settle. The device lies on the stone floor, a dead weight of glass and plastic. You reach for it, your fingers hovering inches above the screen, but you pull back. The impulse is there, a sharp, familiar twitch in your wrist, but you let it pass. You do not touch it. You do not wake it. True freedom is not the ability to satisfy every craving that tears at your focus. It is the power to remain untouched by them. You watch the device, observing it as a foreign object, a tool that no longer dictates your rhythm. You turn your gaze away, toward the deepest corner of the hall where the light cannot reach. The darkness is absolute, thick and unyielding. You stare into it, forcing your muscles to relax, forcing your breath to match the slow, rhythmic pulse of the room. Your eyes begin to adjust. The shadows lose their menace and reveal their depth. You are no longer searching for a spark. You are simply present, anchored in the silence, holding your ground against the pull of the void. The craving for the screen is a ghost. On the cold stone table, an hourglass stands as the only witness to the change. It is filled with black sand, fine and sharp, falling through the narrow neck in a steady, rhythmic descent. You watch the grains. Each one is a second of the life you once traded for a screen. They fall without sound, piling up in the lower chamber to form a dark, rising mound. There is no urgency in the movement. It is a slow, inevitable accumulation of stillness. You track the top chamber as it empties. grain by grain, until the glass is clear. The digital self that lived in the palm of your hand is dissolving with every grain that hits the pile. You feel the tension in your jaw release. You feel the frantic, high-frequency hum of the machine world finally leave your nerves. The hourglass marks the end of the hunt. The sand settles into a perfect, undisturbed cone. The room is quiet, stripped of the blue light, stripped of the notifications, stripped of the noise. You are left with the weight of the stone, the texture of the air, and the absolute, unadorned reality of the present moment. The hourglass is full. The time for the screen has run out. The last grain of sand has fallen. The artificial glow that once clung to your skin like a second layer of dust begins to retreat. You watch the edges of your hands, the curve of your arms, as the faint, flickering blue light dies away. It leaves behind no warmth, only the cool, neutral air of the room. The screen is dark. The device is a cold, inert slab of glass. You are standing in the center of the silence, stripped of the digital reflection that defined your hours. There is no notification to claim your attention. There is no swipe to alter your state. The room is absolute black, a depth so profound it feels like a physical weight. You reach out, but there is nothing to touch. You listen, but there is nothing to hear. In this void, the noise of the world has finally ceased. You are left with the steady, rhythmic beat of your own heart. You are the architect of the silence. You are the occupant of the dark. You are here.